Tommy Rooney, good morning to you.
Morning, lads. How are we doing?
Very good. Coming
Good to
in,
see Owen back.
coming in hot and heavy there for us. What's going on?
All is good. Is my mic a bit hot there? Is it? Sorry. All is well. All going well. It's interesting times, isn't it?
How excited are you, Tommy? Colm O'Rourke in charge of the Meath footballers. 20 years too late, but better late than never.
Not necessarily 20 years too late.
Well, he should have got the job after Boylan, right? They should have given it to him then. They should have given it to him one of the three times before that he applied.
Yeah. There's definitely a feeling that in and around 05, 06, 07, Colin Coyle does get it. So one of the Meath legends do get a hold of it. But when you're looking at the Jubilee teams that are out at the weekend, from the Dublin 95 team, there's been such an influence from that team on Dublin football over the last 10, 11 years. I think three of the players from that team have now managed: Desi, Jim and Gilroy. Whereas on the Meath side, I think it was just Colin Coyle. So even if you go back further from the Meath team of 88 to 92 or so, again, not many of them got a chance to manage post Boylan. This is massive. Look, when back in 04, 05, O'Rourke had managed Meath's first schools teams to Hogan Cup success. St. Pat's Navan won 3 in 5 years. That was massive for Meath football, and there was a bit of a buzz around Meath football at the time. That stuff's important. Like you see the history that Galway have with Jarlaths and their underage success over the last 20 years. Galway haven't necessarily gone away over the last 20 years. Meath football has.
What happened last night and the last, 24, 48 hours, like in terms of what we saw on social media, etc., etc.?
Okay, so news broke on Monday. There was slight murmurings over the weekend that something was coming. There's been a lot of murmurings around GA managers over the weekend. Some of it has been absolute rubbish.
Like what? What's rubbish?
Do
we just do that? Like, what's rubbish? Because I've heard all the rumours.
Erroneous piffle.
There's been a lot of erroneous bits.
Rubbish?
What are the erroneous bits?
Are we talking specifically about Meath here?
No. Well,
the
I
erroneous
presume you're
piffle
talking.
is the bit that we
Sorry,
haven't seen
let's just stick with
confirmed.
Meath. Sorry, we can go back to the other stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, so there was erroneous piffle around Meath as well.
Well, I don't know if I described it as erroneous piffle, but I'm not sure if you saw the tweets last night from Bernard Flynn.
No, tell everybody because a lot of people won't.
Yeah,
have
assume we haven't.
We'll come back to that in a minute. So, 1 o'clock on Monday, it emerges just after 1 o'clock. It was 1:30 that Colm O'Rourke has been appointed, or he's been put forward by the management committee in Meath. There was a 3-man committee put together to come up with the new manager. It emerged on Monday that they had selected Colm O'Rourke and his management team of Barry Callahan and Stephen Braid to be the next management team in Meath. Last night in Navan or in Dunganny, there was an executive county board meeting, and O'Rourke was given a 3-year term with a review after his second year. That's all confirmed. Late last night, another Meath legend who we know was going for the job, Bernard Flynn, sent a tweet, and I think we have it to have a look at there. Now, this is tweet number 1. I would like to sincerely thank
Go on, yeah. Sorry, you got
to
it.
wish Colm and the lads all the very best going forward. It was very disappointing to find out on social media yesterday who the next Meath manager would be, but a big thank you to Robbie Brennan and Stephen Rochford for their loyalty and support. I'll come back to that in a minute, because 40 minutes later that tweet is deleted and a new one is put up that you'll be able to see now. I sincerely wish Colm and the lads all the very best going forward. It was disappointing to find out on social media yesterday who the next manager would be, but a massive thank you to my entire backroom team for their loyalty, effort and genuine support. So if we just go back to the first one, I was surprised in a way to see this, because by all accounts the manner in which Meath ran their search for the next manager was incredibly impressive. Like, there wasn't a murmuring of who was getting this job, lads. I had no idea that Colm O'Rourke was getting it. There was nothing coming out. I know that the management committee, there was 3 of them: Conor O'Donoghue, Sean Kelly, who had been involved in coaching in Meath for a long time, and Liam Kearns, who is got a very important role up in Croke Park and is a very well respected man in the county. They were all tasked by the county management team, by the county board management committee, to go and find the next Meath manager. Liam Hayes is talking about how important the job this is. This is massive. It's monumental for Meath football. They need to stop the rot that has set in over the last 12, 15 years. McEntee had 18 months where it got good. We got Division 1 football. We got a couple of Leinster finals where we just didn't get far enough. Meath football needs to get back there. So this is a huge appointment. I know that there was a number of interviews held. I have no idea who else went for that job. Everything was kept quiet and kept in-house. And I can put it on the record here that everyone who didn't get that job were informed in a phone call between 11:30 and 1 o'clock on Monday, before it emerged on social media, that they had been unsuccessful for the post. So I think that the use of language there is a little liberal, and it's unfortunate because it's clear that Bernard Flynn was desperate to go for that job. He was the only other person that I knew was going for the job. It's a pity that it hasn't worked out for him, but I think Colm O'Rourke was the outstanding candidate here.
Robbie Brennan had been part of the Meath minor football team management group last year. Is that correct? So
no, that's not correct.
No.
Robbie. Oh well, he was in and around it, but Robbie Brennan was part of the Kilmacud team that just fell short in the All Ireland Club final. But he was also part of the Meath under-20s ticket. Bernard Flynn had put a dream team together.
Well, I'm just reading the piece from Donegal Boyle, and December 2021. Crokes manager Robbie Brennan will be part of the Meath minor football management team in 2022. Sorry,
he was part of the minor football team, but in a smaller capacity. He was assistant manager to Bernard Flynn with the 20s team.
Right.
That had that fallen out in Meath 18 months ago, 2 years ago. So, look, I don't know why exactly they didn't go for Bernard Flynn and whoever was on his management team. I found it interesting that tweet was deleted and put back up, because we know there's a couple of vacancies going in other counties where one of the names is rumoured to be heavily in the mix in one of them. So, I mean,
the name is Stephen Rochford. Just for anybody, that it was in the original tweet. So, and I'm sure you'd be a little bit upset if you're Rochford going, I mean, we didn't necessarily need to have that made public, did we?
He does tweet saying thanks to the lads for their support. So they could have just been, big Bernard Flynn fans. The second tweet says big thanks to my entire backroom team. So
it kind of fixes it just in case you're in any doubt.
But it's interesting. Look, I think it was. There's rumours going around the county of who Colm O'Rourke might have coming in his backroom team. There's no point really talking about them because it's impossible.
Are they also Meath legends? Is he putting together the Magnificent Seven?
Aren't.
No,
they actually aren't also Meath legends.
Right.
They're big names from outside the county. And I think that
Paddy Tally would only have to drive half the way from Tyrone to Meath that he has to drive from Tyrone to Kerry.
But Stephen Bray and Barry Callahan are locked in, are they?
Stephen Bray and Barry Callahan are part of his management team.
Okay.
So, you've got three corner forwards, three exceptionally talented, important people in Meath football over the last 30, 40 years. O'Rourke obviously goes back to the 80s. Barry Callahan was a quality player in the 90s and has also been involved in a lot of the good stuff that's been happening in Meath football behind the scenes. There is boring stuff happening in Meath football recently that is starting to come to fruition and coming together. This year on, for the first time, there's going to be regional championships in the county, similar to Kerry. It's not exactly the way it works in Kerry, but they're bringing it in where players from junior clubs and intermediate clubs are going to get an opportunity after the club championships to put themselves in the shop window. O'Rourke is speaking in the Meath Chronicle this morning. There's lovely photos of him outside his house, and he's in some of the other papers as well, talking about the fact that it's going to be a blank slate and he's going to be looking around the county for players. Himself, working in Pats for the last 30 years, he'll know so many players. He's been coaching Simonstown. They've won 2 Keegan Cups back-to-back, the senior title in Meath in 16 and 17. He'll know all the players. Barry Callahan has been involved with the under-20s in recent years and got on very well. And Stephen Bray is our last All-Star, and by all accounts, very highly regarded young coach. So that's impressive and that's important. But going off what Bernard Flynn's tweets there, whoever he had in his backroom team, it's clear that Flynn was putting together a strong team. He had one for the 20s before when that all fell apart. It's so important who you have. Let's not kid ourselves here. Colm O'Rourke is not going to be on the pitch coaching. Jack O'Connor wasn't doing it this year. I doubt Porrick Joyce was doing it this year.
I think Jack said he was doing a bit of the coaching.
A little bit, and that's fine. You can do little bits. You can jump in here and there. We've all been involved in even club teams where you'd have a manager and a coach, and sometimes if they work really well together, you've got a winning formula there. You've got a manager who can step back and watch what's going on, keep an eye on everything, and then you've got a coach who's more hands-on, dealing with the football, the style of play. He's obviously working with the manager on that as well. So Meath are talking a big game here. I can't imagine that Colm O'Rourke has gone for this at whatever age he is. Possibly one of the oldest intercounty managers I think I've seen to get a job at the first time. He's stuck his neck on the line here. He's going to walk the walk after talking for a long time. There's no way he's doing that if Meath aren't being backed here. And Meath must smell blood. They must smell blood looking around the county and the province, that there's a chance to get back on the horse and put ourselves back where we should be.
Are you involved in the backroom team, Tommy, as a coach? Is that what you're telling us? You've got big names and you're the one.
I'm on the other side of the country.
It's too early in your coaching journey, is it?
There's been a lot of tweets regarding Paddy Anders and James Donoghue and rumours that they're going to end up in various management tickets and Sunday game panels over the next 18 months. And look, I can confirm that that's not going to happen. No way.
I mean,
two lads like, what? Tommy, shut up. What?
You mentioned Joyce there. Joyce obviously got a lot of credit last week for his first interview where he talks about wanting to win in All-Ireland, and Colm O'Rourke's first interview is fairly bullish, not quite on that level, but he says, I would regard that we will have failed if we don't beat Dublin and we don't get to Division 1 of the league. That will be a fairly clear measurement of value. In most people's minds, beating Dublin will be the measurement of progress. So I guess that's an even more specific goal. Beating Dublin is the only measure of success for this Meath team. Is that realistic, Tommy, in 2 years?
100%. And I think, let me rephrase that slightly. Division 1 football is absolutely essential, and we have to get back to Division 1 and we have to stay in Division 1. This group of players and the players that come in now are going to need 16 games of Division 1 football in the space of 18 months. Beating Dublin has to be a goal. This is not the greatest team of all time that we saw win 6 in a row All-Ireland. We've seen it. There's chinks in the armour. There's been uncharacteristic issues in that camp over the last 2 years. They aren't the squeaky clean, incredible champions that we saw for a long time. There are problems there. Meath are a long way off it, an awful long way off it. But I think what we saw with Pádraic Joyce and what I loved about it, and similar when Jack O'Connor, once it settled in that he had the job last year, you knew that he was right for this team in ways. Like, Jack O'Connor put the chest out, and he's a Kerry manager who's done it now so many times. He's been there since 2004 or since the 90s in however many capacities. He understands Kerry football. He knows how to be a Kerry manager. Pádraic Joyce at the same time, he seemed to just facilitate a level of confidence in Galway once it clicked and once he got it right. Let's not forget that we got very excited about Joyce the first time he came in. Like, we were very excited about that Galway football. Things fell apart and he reacted, and he brought in a strong management team around him when he got O'Neill and a couple of others involved. So I felt like Joyce could stick the chest out and Galway people could stick the chest out and they could believe and they had a bit of hope. And sometimes that's what a county needs. It needs a spark. It needs a bit more belief. They need to dip into what they are. Like you saw it with Kildare last year. There was a bit of a buzz around the county again. And hopefully this is the spark that Meath football can get. They aren't finished yet. Like, speaking to a couple of sources in the background of Meath football and reading Colm O'Rourke's words, it's been repeated time after time that we aren't finished putting together our backroom team. So in the next 4 weeks, I believe there's going to be very interesting news coming out. And again, going back to it, didn't happen for Bernard Flynn. He's a legend. We talk about the great All-Ireland Forum final performances on losing sides. I had a look back in the Meath Down game from 1991 the other night. Bernard Flynn kicked 6 points that day, so close to getting a goal. Meath came back from the dead. Colm O'Rourke coming off the bench to inspire it. I know I'm going back to the heydays here, but this is what we need. We need a bit of spark from somewhere, and I think this is a chance for Meath football to get it right.
Yeah. Okay. You're very excited. We can feel it coming through. And
it's great to get the job done, Ger, this early.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
if you look
massive.
If you look at some of the other counties that are sitting on their hand at the moment and waiting for decisions to be made, it'll be interesting to see how quickly those appointments do get made, because the club matches are starting and have started in many counties, and you want to be giving everybody an opportunity to perform well in this and then get on your strength and conditioning programme, and then when training happens properly in November, December, to actually be given a fair opportunity to make the team. And the only way you can do that is if you've got a management team in place now.
Yeah, 100%. And look, it's there's word that it's getting and moving a bit closer in Mayo, but there's been rumblings that how that's been handled has left a bit, left a little bit to be desired. I think there's 5 names that we do believe are in the mix for that job. Mike Finnerty was reported it in the Mayo News a couple of weeks ago. I don't think that's changed. So I'm not sure where they're going to go.
The 5 names?
The 5 names are, well, Rochford is supposedly in the mix. Kevin McStay is supposedly in the mix. Mike Solon is supposedly in the mix. Ray Dempsey and Maurice Sheridan. So they're the 5 names that have been highly touted and heavily touted in Mayo over the last number of weeks. In Donegal, another massive appointment. The nominations for the clubs don't close until August 15th. Like, that's still 3 weeks away. I just don't know why some of these counties aren't getting their jobs done. We saw the rumours in the papers. I don't know how true they are that, Jason Sherlock is on his way to Monaghan. We've heard very little about that since. We'll wait and see on that one. If it does happen, it'll be a very interesting one. And then obviously in Offaly, the job's not done. Tomas O'Shea has obviously been heavily linked, and then Wexford, Longford. I think is that the other one? Is there another job that's come up in the last day or two? But yeah, that's it at the moment.
It feels like a bit of an arms race, doesn't it? Like as if every county board has had like a little bit of an injection of belief since Dublin have been beaten or something. As in, like, we've had 3 different All-Ireland champions over the last 3 years, and a few different All-Ireland finalists as well, that everybody's kind of thinking we could do that when they look at Galway and to a degree Tyrone the previous year.
2 quick points on this as well. Tommy, were you saying this is the first decade since something where we've had different All-Ireland winners for the first 3 years? Was that
the 90s?
That wasn't my tweet,
but
I have been saying that it's very similar to 2010s all year. We're entering that space.
Well, the one thing
2010, sorry, 3 decades in a row.
The one thing about the noughties was it was first-time managers who were getting the job done each time. It was Mickey Hart in his first season who won, just like Logan and Dooher, and then Jack O'Connor, first-time manager, as in his first year with this group, getting it done as well. So it'll be interesting to see. And did Desi win his first year with the group? He did. So that's 3 years in a row where that's happened as well.
Yeah, and like. I'm sorry, Owen, I haven't heard you the last 15 minutes, but I don't know if Owen's been talking a big talk about 2 in a row, has he?
Absolutely not.
Trying to yarrow it down.
I saw what was the tweet put out yesterday? Like, I mean, I love how everybody's trying to say that I'm saying this sort of stuff. There was a tweet put out yesterday saying that I do believe that there's a chance that Kerry will go on and dominate over the next few years. And the clip was me saying why 2 in a rows are really hard and why I would actually say Dublin could win the All-Ireland next year. So people want to think that Kerry people are talking 2 in a row. I'm not buying that. But as I said yesterday, that's different to multiple All-Irelands. I think 2 in a row is hard.
Obviously it is hard. Only very, very good teams manage to pull it off, but very, very good teams might not have had the armoury that this team has. And I do think when listening to James, I don't know who was talking on the football pod, he was talking about they didn't really get that bounce when they won the All-Ireland in 2014. It was 14, wasn't it? Where the 3 lads came back into the group and they're like, oh, that's all we need to do. But actually this group are younger and they're not going to have 3 legends coming back into the team to boost them. They're going to have to take that responsibility themselves, and also they have 5 months of partying to do to get it out of their system. Like it's actually, I think, all very well set up for this group to go on. And now there's the chippiness of the Conor Callum would have beaten us, would he? Yeah. Let's see about that. Famously, Munster had a dig about no Rocky Elsom to Leinster. And it pissed Leinster off so much that they smashed them again the next year, just to make sure that, we did it without Rocky Elsom. So there'll be it'll come to be that those lines about you would have lost that game and then it would have been Dublin's All-Ireland again. That's all. If me granny had balls, he'd be me granddad. One last thing, right? The down job came up, and on the face of it,
yes,
the down
that's
job,
the other one. Sorry,
the down job, not a great job, right? I would say the same way that the Derry job, not a great job. And then they find the right person who manages to get the great club side who has been dominant in the county on board, and all those players play for the county team, and suddenly they're competitive again. Just recently, one of the stars of the club team, that is the best club team in the county, came out and were like, well, maybe if one of our lads was in charge, things might be a bit different. So, shit or get off the pot, Kilcoo. Put your man forward. Put somebody forward. Anybody to take that job who has your, it's okay, we accept this guy's one of ours, and let's be having you. Come on.
It'll be a very interesting appointment, whoever gets it next.
Yeah, that's a sentence that just speaks to I know more than.
Yeah, come on, Tommy.
No, I don't.
Come on,
no,
we're all friends.
I'm telling you to shit or get off the pot too.
No, genuinely, I don't know. And I think what I've learned from the Meath situation is it's better if you don't hear anything. Genuinely. Like, I heard nothing about I did. Like, there was murmurings that Flynn was in the mix. Okay, that was known in the county. I heard nothing else about who else was going for it. I had a strong feeling that there wasn't a chance we were going to go for an outside manager. I just think that that's in the county, that resonates in the county. They feel like they need a Meath man as a figurehead. That's what they have. I do believe that it's essential that the coaches that come in are from outside. I think that's so important, that they're the right people. It doesn't matter where they're from, but they're the right people for this management team and for this group of players. That's very important over the next 3 or 4 weeks. I think if we're hearing murmurings on WhatsApp or far-fetched rumours, I think that's a shocking sign and a very poor indictment of a selection committee and of a county, if that's getting out the way that some stuff has been emerging. So I'm not really buying half of that stuff.
What's the most outrageous rumour you've heard?
I'm not even going to repeat it because it was so outlandish. I can't remember what time of the morning it was put into our WhatsApp group. It was like 2 days ago. I'm not going to repeat it. Like, it wasn't the one that everyone was talking about at Croke Park at the weekend. It came out after the weekend about a manager stepping down.
Yeah. Okay.
They're absolutely outrageous. Some of them that are coming through. It's silly season, lads. It's like
it is silly season. I actually don't think you can blame counties who are taking their time and doing all their due diligence and saying the process is bad because they're doing it. If somebody feels like they're not going to get the job, the process is always bad. That's what happens. Everybody who doesn't get the job thinks the process was terrible, but if the right person ends up getting the job and it's an extra week along the way, that's not a disaster. And I actually think that, like, again, it's an amateur organisation where you can't expect complete confidentiality the whole way along the process because too many people need to know what's happening and to be kept abreast of the situation. Like the Galway hurling getting Sheffield last year, that was a miracle that they were able to pull that off.
But it was so impressive with how they managed that, and it was so well handled. And I think, like, there's so many different, like, Colm O'Rourke had to leave or inform his Simonstown club that he was leaving and he'd be taking the Meath job. Like, he's been over that club for a couple of years. That happened on Monday morning or Monday afternoon. Like, a lot of people have to be told these things. Yeah. But just to be fair to Bernard Flynn, like, just what I was going back to as well, when I said he was a little liberal with the use of the English language, he was told he wasn't getting the job, the same as however many other people went for it. I actually don't know who else went for it. There was one other name that came up. I know Colm O'Rourke was interviewed. It was on the We Are Meath podcast. O'Rourke is somebody that Meath people would have in line to get this job in 2 or 3 years' time. He was involved with the underage teams recently and is touted as being in the mix down the line. But nobody, Ger, was told who was getting the job. Like, you know, if you were going for a CEO job, you might get a call to be told that you're not getting it. But you're not going to be told who's getting the job. There's people that have to be told before that. So I think that's what happened to Meath this week. And I just wanted to clear that up because there has been messing going on and shenanigans in the background and poor things that have come out about the county board in the last couple of years in regards to the McAtee situation last year and a few other bits and pieces over the last decade. I don't think this was poorly handled. I think this was handled exceptionally well, and it gives me hope that Meath football is on a good path here and onto a winner.
All right. Moslefunk says Meath have been a badly managed county for over 20 years now. The amount of clubs in the county might need more than just O'Rourke coming in. Needs a whole overhaul.
There's a lot of that happening in the background, and I think there's actually an announcement coming on that next week. So there's a lot happening in Meath football over the next couple of weeks that we'll keep an eye on.
Owen says, clearly Kerry might have a chip about XYZ being said about hypothetical, but so do Dublin, so do Galway, so do Mayo. This will be a fun few years in football. We all thought that though when the Dubs beat Kerry for the first time. It was like, oh, this is great. We've got Donegal, Mickey Hart's still there. That's not going away. This Mayo team are really good. And then Dublin just was like, no. There's an age profile of that Kerry team, rising superstars. Think about how many players played badly for Kerry and they still kicked 20 points in an All-Ireland final. Come on, I don't think anybody's paying enough attention to this. Kerry are not going away anytime, anywhere soon.
I don't think you can say people aren't paying enough attention to Kerry right now. I think they've got their due credit, and maybe you're saying that they're not getting enough credit, Ger.
I am.
Amazing.
I think that
before anybody accuses me of Kerry bias,
I think they were really poor in the first half, and I think that was about the pressure. Like in the second half, when they started to play and were a little bit kind of less self-conscious, they played very well, and the game wasn't close. Like, it was 4 points. It was. Kerry should have scored 2 goals at the end of the game and actually were kind of running the ball down.
But the thing is, when their team was younger, they were actually better, it turned out, because that's what the substitutions were. It brought the average age down substantially at half time.
Yeah.
And so maybe that could support your argument.
Sure, look, we'll see, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about it. Tommy, good stuff. You're a happy man.
Thanks, lads. Thanks for allowing me to talk about Meath football in a positive light.
Really
and sorry, congratulations. You guys were nominated for the Irish Sports Podcast Awards.
Thank you. Yeah, it was lovely to be nominated. It was great to see that yesterday. It was class. Yeah,
will you win?
Class. Did we win?
Will you win?
Oh, will we win? There's serious competition there on, so we're just going to put the head down and just do what we've been doing all season long, and hopefully that, we come out on the right side of it.
Who's your main rival? It's Niblock, isn't it?
There's the GA Social. There is, trying to think now of
Niblock makes people cry. Tommy, you guys have had no tears.
That's what I've been saying to everyone, that we've no chance. Thomas makes everyone cry. I'm only joking. I think Paddy Anders described Thomas Niblock as the Oprah Winfrey of
He's got to win it then. Yeah.
So he's in the mix, so the pressure's on. And there's other great podcasts in the mix as well. I think an old colleague of ours, Neil Tracy, has his RT Rugby podcast in the mix. There's the Three Amigos podcast from Cork. And there's Al Foran's Goalmat up in Goal Out upstairs. So there's other podcasts in the mix. But also, Ger, every podcast is available to win in the Listener's Choice Award. All you got to do is to go to the Irish Podcast Awards.ie/vote, search for your favourite podcast, i.e. OTB AM, and vote.
Oh, I didn't even know we were in it.
Yeah, everyone's in it now. Everyone can win in that one. So that's open to everyone.
We don't want you all to go to, where was it again?
Irish Podcast Awards.ie.
We don't want you to go to Irish Podcast Awards.ie and pick our podcast.
Vote.
We definitely don't want that.